Let's bring in Axios chief economic correspondent Neil Irwin to break all of this down for us. Neil, good to have you. Would suspending the gas tax be an effective move to give the American people some relief at the pump?
It could help on the margins. So the federal gas tax is about 18 cents a gallon. However, if they were to suspend that, it doesn't necessarily all flow through to consumers. Some of that gets absorbed by refiners, retailers, depending on the structure of some of those markets. So even if you get, 10, 15 cents of relief, that's something. But gas prices are up about $1.50 since this war began. So in terms of the scale of the kind of gas price challenge that American households are facing, suspending the gas tax does not really eliminate much of it, even if it's a little help on the edges.
This is how Energy Secretary Chris Wright responded about the price of gas possibly continuing to go up. Let's listen.
I can't make any predictions about, oil prices or gasoline prices. When we start to get free flow of traffic through the Straits of Hormuz, energy prices will come down.
Should Americans be prepared for the possibility of paying $5 a gallon for gas?
Look, again, I can't predict the price of energy in the short term or even the medium term. But what we're doing is ending a 47-year conflict.
So we're not that far off from $5 gas. Isn't it part of the job description for the energy secretary to have his finger on the pulse and predict oil prices, to anticipate what's coming?
It is, but the reality is that, as the secretary said, this is not something that's being determined by the details of how the energy industry works. It's being determined by war and peace and what's happening in this global conflict. And so, the ultimate solution to getting gas prices down is a resolution of this conflict that's more a national security, foreign policy choice than anything to do with the details of refineries and who's pumping how much crude here in the U.S. Look, presidents have faced this before. Plenty of presidents have said, I want to bring energy prices down. I want to bring gas prices down, and realize that the toolkit they have is not as extensive as you might think. We saw this in 2022 with the Biden administration. We saw this in 2008 with the George W. Bush administration. It's a really knotty problem that you can't just flip a switch and make gas cheaper. You have to face the underlying geostrategic reasons that price spikes begin with.
So I found this interesting. AAA says 39 million people will travel this Memorial Day weekend by car, even though we're seeing these high gas prices. Does that surprise you that given the cost of gas that we're seeing almost $5 and other trickle-down impacts from the war, from the economic situation, that Americans are still out there on the roads?
Yeah, we've seen this time and time again. Gas prices, gasoline is what people call inelastic demand, meaning in the short run, people don't really change their behavior, how much they consume based on the price. If you need to go to the grocery store, you need to go to work, you have a family vacation you're really planning to take, you just pay the higher prices, and it comes out of somewhere else. It comes out of your savings, comes out of other things that you buy. We'll be on the lookout for that demand destruction that could happen. At the same time, also as we get toward $4.50, toward $5, that's not what it used to be. So when we hit nearly $5 a gallon in 2008, that was 16 years ago. Wages are a lot higher than they were then. So, we're still in a zone where prices are elevated, prices are uncomfortable, it's pinching families. At the same time, they're not as high in inflation-adjusted terms as they were even in 2022, let alone 2008.
Last night, President Trump took a swipe at the Supreme Court over their decision to overturn his tariff policy, saying, quote, any money paid to the United States of America does not have to be paid back. That sentence, if added by the Supreme Court to its highly disputed tariff decision, would have saved America $159 billion. Where does the president's tariff policy stand at this point?
Well, the courts have ruled that the emergency authority he used for most of the tariffs that were announced last year is not valid, not legal. So companies that imported and paid those tariffs are able to get those refunds. Look, that's what the courts have ruled. The president doesn't like it. He's going to keep jawboning, but they keep losing in court. They just had a trade court ruling on Thursday or Friday that showed the latest version of these tariffs was also not lawful according to this international trade court. So look, the way the U.S. system works is tax policy is supposed to come through Congress and consist of laws. The president's looking for workarounds and seems frustrated that the courts are not letting him use those workarounds as freely as he would like to.
And expressing that frustration outwardly. Neil Irwin, thank you very much. Appreciate it.